Across cultures, ghouls are among the most terrifying creatures whispered about in folklore. Demons of the graveyard, flesh-eating horrors, shapeshifters of the dead. Tonight, we travel along dark roads, forgotten cemeteries, and abandoned battlefields to meet 3 ghoul encounters from the heart of America. Tales that blur myth with chilling reality. Story 1. The Crypt Ghoul of Oakwood Cemetery. Location: Oakwood Cemetery, Raleigh, North Carolina. Oakwood Cemetery in Raleigh is a sprawling Victorian burial ground, moss-covered headstones, old family crypts, and winding paths where history refuses to sleep. Locals always said something watched from the shadows of the older sections, long fallen plots that tourists rarely saw. A group of late-night ghost hunters, Emma, Derek, and Louise, decided to explore Oakwood's oldest crypts one October evening. With lanterns and cameras, they crossed into the neglected part of the cemetery. The air was oddly cold for early fall. Their breath was visible, though there was no wind. Emma pointed her light at the crypt entrance, partially submerged in earth. Ever feel like someone's not watching us from somewhere here? She whispered. No sooner had she spoken than Derek's recorder blared static, then a low growl, slow and guttural. They froze. A shape emerged from the darkness, hunched low, emaciated, skin grey and taut like old parchment, eyes like dead embers in the gloom. The creature moved with unnatural speed, its claws scraping stone. Luis tried to shout, but his voice died. The ghoul lunged, and the lantern flickered. Then, only silence. Later, when rescuers found the trio's abandoned equipment, the last frames captured showed 3 separate faces reflected in the crypt walls, all wearing expressions of horror, as though they saw something unspeakably ancient rising from the grave itself. Story 2. The Ghoul at Devil's Backbone Ridge. Location: Devil's Backbone, Austin, Texas. Northwest of Austin, Devil's Backbone Ridge juts from the Texan plains like a skeletal spine. It's a place of unsettled land, strange rock formations, and local legends of things that crawl from the dead between sunset and dawn. The story begins with Colin, a park ranger familiar with the ridge's oddities. For years, hikers reported something moving in the shadows after dark, rustling in the brush, distant cries that weren't quite animal, impressions in soft soil like long, spindly feet. One night, Colin stayed late to chart a new trail. Around midnight, he heard a childlike cry, a shriek of hunger that cut through silence like a blade. He turned. Just beyond his lantern's reach was a figure, gaunt, grey, half visible in broken moonlight. Its eyes were too large, too black, and fixed upon him. Colin backed away, but the figure didn't move like an ordinary animal. It didn't run. It slithered on all fours, its limbs too long, its torso too twisted, its mouth, gnarled like bone, opened in a silent snarl. Then it spoke, not in words, but a breathy rasp that felt like claws on his mind. Come closer. Colin ran, back toward the trailhead, but the ghoul followed, its footsteps unsettlingly soft, its snarls echoing in the rocks. When Colin reached his truck, engines sputtering to life in terror, he saw multiple footprints trailing behind him. Footprints that shouldn't exist in the hard terrain. Long sickle-shaped prints, deep and deliberate, staggering behind him like a predatory hunt. Story 3. The Forgotten War Ghoul of Gettysburg. Location: Gettysburg Battlefield, Pennsylvania. Some of America's oldest battlefields are soaked with history and loss, and Gettysburg is among the most haunted. Thousands died here in 3 days of conflict, and many swear something refuses to leave the valley. Most ghost tales here involve phantom soldiers, but the story we're about to tell comes from a forgotten corner of Cemetery Ridge, where something far older and far more terrifying is said to roam. Rebecca, a historical tour guide, stayed late one summer night to prepare materials for the next day's sunrise reenactment. As she wandered near an old mass grave, her lantern flickered. The air grew cold. The ground beneath her feet seemed to pulse, like the earth was alive. Then she heard claws scrape on turf, slow, deliberate, drawing closer. From the darkness came a figure that didn't wear any uniform. Its flesh was grey and mottled, its form hunched like something that feasted where bodies lay forgotten. Its eyes, furious coals, fixed on her. Rebecca stepped back. She tried to call out, but her voice hitched in her throat. The ghoul advanced. It wasn't looking for battle glory. It was looking for flesh. Rebecca ran, but as she fled through the darkened fields, she saw more figures rising. Skeletal shapes with hollow eyes creeping from the old burial earth. Each moved with unnerving intent toward her. In folklore, ghouls are creatures of death and desolation, shapeshifters and grave dwellers, hungry for what was once lost. From forgotten cemeteries to desolate ridges, and the very ground soaked with history and loss, their presence reminds us that some nightmares are rooted in the darkest places of the earth and of our own past.